fair and balanced.
Floridians, you may be thinking, how does one share a little sunshine? Try calling up your best buddies, invite them down to the beach, or jam-pack a few days with everything from airboating to the theme parks. Then snap a pic of the jealousy-inducing fun and post it with hashtag LoveFL. However you decide to share a little sunshine, the important part is that you do it. Because keeping all this to yourself, well, that's just not fair. Not fair at all. This message sponsored by Visit Florida, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio.
Football starts this Sunday, but at DraftKings.com, it's already time for the big game. $10 million in prizes are up for grabs in the biggest one-week fantasy football contest ever. That means every play in every game could take you closer to a life-changing payday. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Use promo code SWIFT at DraftKings.com to play free for your shot at the $2 million top prize in this Sunday's Millionaire Maker event. That's SWIFT for free entry now at DraftKings.com.
There was grief and remembrance as the nation paused to mark September 11th.
The crowds were a bit smaller and some wounds have healed a bit more, but the 14th year of remembrance at Ground Zero was another powerful and moving event, with family members of victims and first responders once again reading the names of the nearly 3,000 people who lost their lives on September 11th, 2001. The site has changed dramatically, with One World Trade open for business and the Memorial Plaza open and free to the public. And many are using the day to ask for help, to continue funding healthcare costs for the thousands of first responders suffering ill effects of working on the pile in the weeks and months after the attack.
Fox's Rick Leventhal. The Pentagon believes he's dead, a top bomb maker for the Khorasan terror group. Intelligence officials believe a French-born terrorist was killed in a U.S. airstrike in Syria this summer. Also in Syria, an unwelcome development.
A senior defense official confirms to Fox News that parts for surface-to-air missiles made in Russia have wound up in Syria. Those systems come as Russia steps up its aid to ally Bashar al-Assad in his fight against ISIS. Those missiles are advanced. They're called the SA-22 system, and people in the Pentagon believe they'll be operated by Russian forces stationed inside Syria. President Obama says Russia's coming down on the wrong side of history by helping Assad, who's been killing his own people.
Strategy that we're pursuing right now, doubling down on Assad, I think is a big mistake.
Over 250,000 people have been killed in Syria's civil war. In Washington, Jill Nato, Fox News Radio.
Still growing in California, a wildfire in the Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park. This woman in the town of Dunlop is prepping her horses for a potential evacuation.
It takes a long time to move horses to other places and get them organized and settled.
I'm Pam Cusack, Fox News Radio.
Here's your News Radio 1025 AccuWeather forecast. Cloudy and humid with a shower or a thunderstorm around near the coast. Low 71 to 75. Clouds and sunshine tomorrow. With a shower and a thunderstorm, it will be humid. High 82 to 88. Increasing clouds with a shower tomorrow night. News, weather, and traffic every 10 minutes in the morning. I'm Jonathan Reed for News Radio 1025 WFLA.
Last football season, DraftKings crowned more millionaires than any one-week fantasy sports site anywhere. This season, the prizes are even bigger. So join Mike from New Hampshire, or Mikey Millions as his friends call him, and become the next fantasy football millionaire. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Go to DraftKings.com now and use promo code SWIFT to play free for a shot at $2 million in the Week 1 $10 million Millionaire Maker. That's SWIFT for free entry at DraftKings.com.
As a citizen and as president, Ground Zero is indeed essential on radio and is essential to who we are.
The loudspeaker spoke up and said, the loudspeaker spoke up and said, the loudspeaker spoke up and said, give up, give up, give up, give up, give up.
It's ground zero. You know, one of the problems I have being a 3-hour show, 3-hour national, used to be 2 hours local and people supposed to be on the internet. Now I don't have those 2 hours that are local. I just have my 3 national hours. So the problem I've been having is being the show that I am, sometimes radio stations play an hour of my show, unfortunately. Sometimes people play the second hour and the third hour, unfortunately. And so, for people who say to me, you know, Clyde, you repeat yourself too much, I say, well, I repeat myself because I have to reset up what I talked about before. And if you don't keep it, you go to the podcast at soundcloud.com/groundmedia. Listen to the 3 hours that I use and that I do. For those of you that hear my first hour only, you hear me rant, and that's about it. You don't hear phone calls. For those who tune into the second hour, we bring the guest on, and then from there, we want to hear what the guest has to say, and by that time, there's no room for phone calls. But my guest tonight, Marvin Sanis, who is an activist with Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, he is looking, just like I am, for intellectual honesty on this topic, and we want to go to the call. We want to go to the call. So tonight, I'm going to try to get as many phone calls as I can in this last hour, because it is, well, what do we do? It's kind of a therapy session, aren't we, Marvin? We, you know, 14 years later, we're having this discussion, an open discussion, and as you said, it's very valuable to get this on a national level.
And it's still a painful, painful day for most of America.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I don't know if anybody can remember all the details, and tonight we're kind of jogging your memory a bit. Let's go to Dan in Connecticut. Dan, hi, you're on Ground Zero with myself and Marvin Sanis. Go ahead.
Great, Gian. Just want to contribute. Most people don't know, on that Tuesday was Mayor Giuliani's mayoral primary, and it was at 10 World Trade Center. I work for a company called Election.com. We held and tabulated all the ballots for the primary for the mayor in his office in the Republican Party. And obviously, when the first plane hit, our team left. You know, we figured it was a bomb. Our supervisors didn't know. We thought it was a bomb going on in the World Trade Center, like it had happened in previous years, like with the bomb that happened in the basement of the World Trade Center.
1993.
So our team left, and Giuliani, obviously, throughout the city was up at the time. So the ballots actually got closed at that time, and that was pretty much it. So he got, I don't remember exactly who the other candidate was, the other candidates against him, but he definitely got out. The other thing is that my wife recorded, because we live in Connecticut, that the plane that was over Pennsylvania, the news media came on, and I still have this on VHS tape. Our Connecticut news reported that it got shot down.
I had a friend.
F-16s had been scrambled, and the plane over Pennsylvania actually got shot down.
I had a friend, and he worked with me on a radio show. Well, there was my radio show, which I did on the weekends. Ground Zero used to be a weekend show before it was ever a weekday show. And we worked together on another program that was a national broadcast show, a different format from what I do here. It was more of a comedy, more of an outrageous comedy type show. And he told me that he had relatives in Pennsylvania near the area where the plane went down. And he said that his father, who had a farm in that area of the country, he said that his dad told his dad, who had a farm out there, told him that he saw fighter jets flying through the area, and next thing you know, there was a huge explosion in the sky. And he saw this huge explosion. And I recall, I don't know if you recall, James, but they were printing in the newspapers this beautiful blue sky over this rural area and this huge explosion in the sky rather than the plane down on the ground. And so it's all together. And I think even if you have, I think it's Donald Rumsfeld or someone else, he actually slipped, or I think Cheney slipped and said something to the effect that they shot down that plane. So, yeah, now 14 years later, the stories seem to differ. but there are a lot of people that don't care, and they don't want to question, and they certainly don't want to have this open dialogue because it gives them, like I said, it kind of steps on their normalcy bias or maybe even their altruistic bias or patriotic bias, which it really shouldn't, because we should have this open dialogue.
And also, isn't it a coincidence that was the mayoral primary?
Yeah.
That particular day, that
election, yeah, it was election day. Many people.
And none of his top staff that we had negotiated and signed contracts with ever showed up, nor did he. In all the previous elections, he always showed up, or his top staff did. But
so he didn't show up to the office that day. Yeah. And then of course he said he knew. I don't know if you heard that clip we played. He said he knew
that
the towers were going to collapse because they told him that they're about to collapse. You need to get out of the area. So they told him to get out of the area because he was down there talking with people, and the fire department said, "Hey, the towers are coming down. Get out of here. We need you to get out of here." So either A, the fire department pulled the buildings, as Silverstein asked Building 7 to be pulled, or they knew that there was going to be some structural type of situation was going to happen.
It's bottom line, there's too many coincidences that in all the different things that have occurred for it not to be a serious conspiracy.
Yeah, very. I mean, it's kind of like climate change. We know the climate changes, but it's not that kind of climate change we believe in. Same with conspiracy. We know that 9/11 was a great conspiracy. If you decide that 19 Saudis conspired to bring down those buildings, it's a great conspiracy. Therefore, if you also say that those 19 Saudis got the go-ahead from some criminal element within the borders of the United States, it's an even bigger conspiracy. Saying the government that did it, I don't think the government as a whole were involved, but I certainly believe that there were people involved in government that were well aware that this was about to go down.
Well, I've been to Saudi Arabia and I worked in the oil industry, and I don't think that they're that technically advanced even at that time to be able to do that. So,
well, Dan, thanks for your insights. I really appreciate you calling in.
Hey, you're doing a great job, man. Keep it real, and I appreciate your show. I really do.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you for keeping it real, too.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Let's go to Deanna, who's calling in from Oregon tonight. You're on with myself and Marvin Sanders. Go ahead.
Hi, is this me?
Yeah, it is. Go ahead, Deanna.
How are you?
Good.
Well, I have been cheering you on tonight. I mean, you just had me so, you had me so riled up earlier. I don't think I heard your entire dialogue, but I didn't hear you tie in one significant thing I see, and that is the Luciferian shadow government connection, the whole, New World Order boys, and this whole Hegelian style dialectic,
Well, yeah, I mean, Deanna, and I'm glad you brought this up. You know that the George W. Bush had mentioned that they had to employ the shadow government, which was established back in the times of Ronald Reagan for the continuity of government. So yes, the shadow government was employed at the time, and they finally admitted. You're right. You're correct.
Yeah. Well, 9/11 for me now is, mine is a biblical worldview, and I'm watching prophecy unfold. And so 9/11 is kind of like the big shiny object right now for me. I don't see, I don't have a list of all the legislation and everything that's been put in place, but another thing to tie in is fairly recent, and that is the TPP, which essentially gives a dictatorial control of the government, through ratification of treaties. This has been done before. That's not, there's nothing new under the sun. But we have this apparatus. We are literally in the jaws of the beast now, and if we're trying to, figure out a way to wiggle out the jaws of the beast, we have a government that has literally turned this apparatus, the apparatus is in place and it's literally turning this mechanism on the people.
Like I said, and Marvin had said this too, there is nothing patriotic that came out of 9/11. Nothing at all.
Absolutely not. If anything, it's idolatrous. This whole, rah, rah, rah. America, and these people have gone and killed millions of people. We need to spiritually disengage from this kind of corruption.
Speaking of idolatry, I remember they used to have a tour of a railing that came off the World Trade Center, and they'd bring it out in a velvet pillow type thing, and they'd send it from school to school, and they'd have kids gather around it and touch it, and then they would bow their heads. They would bow their heads in silence for this railing, and I'm thinking, and not only that, but remember that cross that was at the World Trade Center? They put it in a museum, and all it is a bunch of rails that basically were crossed, and they turned it into a shrine. And all that power that went into that shrine of the dead, all of their
the blood
and everything. And then, of course, the cross represented everybody at the World Trade Center, both Muslim, Jew, and non-believer. So that was also something that really bothered me. But see, that's the thing, is that in the midst of hysteria and in the midst of what it is that happened on that day, we forget